I've tested a ton of microscopes over the years. In this video, I'm going to let you know which are my favorites from 2024, what pitfalls to avoid, and how to find the best microscope for your use case. You might even already have our favorite microscope of the year in your pockets right now. There are a couple of different categories. You have your mobile microscopes for the inexpensive, low magnification, on-the-go applications, digital microscopes, which are also inexpensive, easy to use, and are going to give you kind of a low to medium magnification. They would either have a screen on them directly like this one, or they would have a USB cable that plugs into a computer, or they would even have an HDMI cable that plugs into a big screen TV. The samples that would work best under a digital microscope are samples like fabrics, or if you're doing electronics inspection of PCBs, or even looking at your fingerprint. And then we have stereo microscopes, which fill a very similar niche to the digital microscopes, but you look through the eyepieces and they give you a three-dimensional vision under the microscope, which lets you do physical manipulations such as soldering or watchmaking, jewelry making, and so on. And then finally, we have compound microscopes. These are probably the things that you picture in your head when you think of the word microscope. They're more expensive, a little bit more involved to use, but they give you really high magnifications. You would need to use a compound microscope if you're looking at things like pond water samples, blood samples, any kind of biological samples are really what compound microscopes excel at. The biggest tip that I have for microscope purchasing, higher magnification and more expensive microscopes might not necessarily be better. A $20 microscope might work better for your application than using a $1,000 microscope. Really, you have to match the right magnification and the right type of microscope to the samples that you're using. Using too high of a magnification for a low magnification sample is like pressing your face right up against a big screen TV and then trying to watch a movie on it. I've labeled all of the different chapters of this video, and as always, all of the microscopes that I recommend will have purchase links in the video description below. To test these microscopes out, we're going to use a couple of different samples. A crisp $20 bill. We're going to look at the tip of a ballpoint pen so you can get a sense of scale. And then we're also going to look at one of our products. This is Micro Safari Terra, which is basically, it's a giant microscope slide that comes shipped with an entire living ecosystem inside of it. You can feed your organisms, watch them eat each other, reproduce, and adapt. It makes a great gift. Mobile microscopes are super convenient, cheap, and work surprisingly well. Even with access to all of the rest of the microscopes that we have, I still find myself using mobile microscopes just as much as the more expensive ones. Mobile microscopes make great gifts for kids, but can also be used professionally. I've got to do some expectation setting here though.